so much for joining us today. I will have the opportunity to introduce our fabulous panel of guests in a moment, but I'll start with myself. My name is Jen Davies, and I'm the Manager of Career Development at the Academic Advising and Career Center. And what that means is not only do I have the pleasure of supervising the fabulous career counselors and career consultants who work with us, I also have the pleasure of facilitating events like these, where I get to introduce you to campus colleagues, which is fabulous. We're here to learn a little bit about what experiential learning is, and I'd actually like to start us off by hearing a little bit from, I'd like to summarize a little bit about what graduates from U of T have had to say about experiential learning. Overall, experiential learning has to do with activities that support what you're learning in the classroom. These could be work-related, these could be a volunteer experience, these could be activities that you complete as part of a research assignment. Experiential learning incorporates any and all of the work that you will do outside the classroom that supports what you're learning inside the classroom. We're going to hear a number of perspectives on how that works at the UTSC campus today. I'll let this video wrap up so we can hear what, or read what our fellow students had to say about experiential learning. I think there's one more after Maureen. No, that was it. All right. All right, so I will let our guests introduce themselves, but just very quickly so you know who we have at the table. We have Janice Patterson, who's the Associate Director for the Center for Teaching and Learning. We have Dr. Andre Sorensen from the Department of Human Geography. They do a great deal of work in experiential learning. We have Julie Witt from Arts, Culture, and Media, where also they do a great deal of experiential learning. We have Nadia Rosemond from the Department of Student Life. We have Madiha Ahmed, our own, from the Academic Advising and Career Center. We have Dallas Boyer from Arts and Science Co-op. And we have Carl Chu, who's a fourth-year student in Management Co-op. So thanks so much for joining us today. Without any further ado, what I'd like to do is ask our panelists to introduce themselves and their department and tell us a little bit about what experiential learning means to them, why it's important, what kinds of experiential programming they offer, and how students can access and qualify for those opportunities.
The last kind of big thing that is on my agenda, and it's a new initiative that I'm launching this year, it's called ACM Engage, and it's a certificate program that we are putting in conjunction with the Co-Curricular Record, actually. And it's basically a way of acknowledging a little more formally the enormous ways that students participate with our department in terms of being a regular attendee at exhibition openings or concerts or theater gatherings, things like that, or being a volunteer, because I get tons of people who love to volunteer in our department because it's something they love to do, but for whatever reason it's what they're not choosing to study. And so that's a certificate program called ACM Ambassadors. So if you want to volunteer, come talk to me. And so what I'm doing there is providing a little bit more of a structured channel for you to access opportunities to volunteer and be involved in our department, to take part in the Explorer certificate, where you can physically just go out and see things, take in exhibitions or artworks on the campus or off campus in the local Scarborough community. And these things are open to anybody. But the more you get involved on that front, the more trained and qualified and ready you will be to take on a leadership position, and that's the third certificate we have.
Our department offers short-term and long-term opportunities to kind of get involved and develop experience. We also have events and commitments that could be weekly or monthly, so you can maybe enjoy that one-day event and maybe want to contribute to some of our mentorship programs, where you mentor Scarborough middle school and high school youth weekly in the Scarborough area and help them support them and mentor them academically in terms of thinking about post-secondary as an option. So we have a range of short-term and long-term. I also want to plant the seed of studying abroad. So we touched upon it with the MIB and the City Studies program in Tokyo. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming to think about studying abroad, a little bit scary. There's lots of costs, unknown, safety. So our Department of Student Life includes the International Student Center, and we offer opportunities to study for the summer, for a semester or a year, 4 to 6 weeks, summer programs where you can study abroad and experience a different culture develop an international network. And kind of when you go for these interviews, when you apply for that grad school, kind of brag about your global experience, being in a different culture, community, another city, learning another language and navigating that as well. And that's another little, lots of learning outcomes as well that provides you. We also provide research opportunities for people that might be in the sciences. So oftentimes you may not be able to find a research opportunity here at UTSC because it might be full, you might be a little bit behind, but we also offer research opportunities abroad. So throughout the year, almost weekly, we have info sessions on study abroad opportunities. We also offer info sessions where you can bring your parents or guardians so they can learn more about it, ask their questions, feel assured about what you want to do and get more information. And one of our goals this year is to develop more funding opportunities to help support students financially to go on these experiences. So our department, we see ourselves like a launching plan. Sometimes you feel a little bit overwhelmed with the whole idea of getting involved. If you come into our office, whether or not you're able to get involved with us, we're usually able to refer you and make sure you connect to other places on campus to help you get involved and build your experience. And the last thing I should plug is our Co-Curricular Record, CCR. So the Co-Curricular Record is about 3 to 4 years old, and basically it's a tri-campus initiative. If anything, if you remember anything today, if you visit the Co-Curricular Record, that should help you search and find opportunities not only here at UTSC, but at St. George UTM. So some of you might be commuting from different areas and you may be closer to those campuses. The experiences that you find on the CCR, you're welcome to join and be a part of them and contribute. So the CCR acts as a searching device and helps you figure out what to get involved in, and ideally you could try to target and look for things that, say you want to develop interpersonal skills, you could try to look for activities at either campus that will help you foster interpersonal skills or data management or design, creativity, whatever it might be. The Co-Curricular Record is ideally trying to design to help you navigate how to search for how to get involved. And at the end of the day, you have this transcript, not an official transcript, but a non-official transcript that captures all your experience here at UTSC that you've done outside the classroom that helps you kind of talk to it. So what's really great about the Career Center is that you could bring your co-curricular transcript and say, how do I talk about this at an interview? Like, how do I sell all this amazing stuff I've done at UTSC when I'm being interviewed for this grad school application or for this job? And hand in hand, your co-curricular transcript and meeting with the Career Center kind of helps you sell yourself a little bit better, because other times we do things for fun at UTSC, we do these trips, we join a club, but you're not able to talk about it when people ask you, tell me a time when you worked on a team, or tell me a time when you've dealt with conflict, and you're like, in high school. And we want to hear about what you're doing right now, like all your experiences that you're collecting right now in your post-secondary stage. So by getting involved with these things, that helps you talk and sell yourself when you are asked.
At the Academic Advising and Career Center, our take on it is more to have you, through experiential learning, go through your journey of career exploration. So a lot of it has to do with equipping you with the skills and resources for self-directed career management. So what that basically means is that we want to have you have experiences through which you can learn about the capacities you have yourselves, and then put yourselves in environments where you can learn more about yourself, the environment, and people around you to be able to formulate next steps, questions, or even come to a decision of what you may or may not want to pursue, which are both very valuable takeaways from any experience you have. So the two most prominent programs that are experiential in nature and that we are known for are the external job shadowing program and the in the field program. So the beauty with both these programs is that you can be in any year of study, any program of study, and participate in it. So I'll speak to the in the field first. Has anybody ever been on an in the field? Some of you have one of you? Okay. So that's basically, it's kind of like a field trip, but it's a career exploration field trip. So it involves students going into an organization, seeing the organization firsthand. So we visit an organization, you get a tour of the workplace, get to see a panel of current employees from different areas to learn about what their career is, what their journey was, and how they ended up in the role there was. So it's about letting students become aware of the fact that an organization, for example, we go to the CAMH, we're going for the third time in January. It's a mental health hospital. But for any organization, including a hospital, There are many aspects that work together for the successful operation of an organization. So you can be a BBA student. We've had accounting students attend our tour to CAMH because that might be the industry where you see yourself working in, even though the service that CAMH is providing may not be the work. You might not be a clinical psychologist, for example. So how that works is that it's not a job search program. We want students to go in, immerse themselves into that environment, and see if that sparks a curiosity for something else, whether you confirm what you want to do, and again, maybe it's just not an environment for you, but you just won't know until you're there as well. So how we prepare students for that, and that's, I think, the most important part, like Carl mentioned, the before aspect. So we do a 1-hour preparation session where we give you the reflective lens on that experience. So you're going into the trip, to the field trip with conscious awareness of what do I know about myself, what do I want to learn here, and what do I want to take away, and what my next steps will be. So that whether you're a co-op student, a non-co-op student taking service learning, or any other type of the experiential learning activities on campus, how do you manage that? What do you take away from that experience? So that whole learning piece is transferable to any experiential learning you're doing on campus. The extern job shadowing program is similar, where you do a prep session, but what you do is you apply for placements to be able to shadow somebody, what we call hosts, in a career area of interest. So what you're doing is you can spend anywhere between 1/2 to 5 days with that person, shadowing them, the tasks they do, learning about their work environment. And similar to in the field, there is a reflection component to that as well, and that's also very transferable. You might shadow a doctor and feel like, oh, this is really not my cup of tea, or you might think you need to learn more about it. And that's the important part. So what are the next steps you're going to take in that journey of career exploration? So they're super easy to access. All you do is you have to do a preparation session that you sign up for on the Career Learning Network. There's ones for extern and ones for in the field. And you attend that, we give you all the instructions. There is no cost to the student for either of the programs.